I'm Paolo Pialosi, and in this video we are going to understand what the bot-powered adaptive card extensions are. In fact, Microsoft recently introduced a new technology to extend the Microsoft Viva Connections Dashboard. And being a new technology, you should keep into account that it might slightly change in the future. As such, the articles associated with these videos will be kept up to date, while the videos might not be updated as often. The bot-powered ACEs are built based on the Bot Builder Framework SDK, starting from version 4.21.2. And you can develop them either using .NET and C# or using Node.js and TypeScript. They are complementary and not alternative to the SharePoint Framework adaptive card extensions, and as such, we can use them to realize additional scenarios. So, let me try to explain you why we need the bot-powered ACEs. For example, let's assume that you have an already existing bot that you implemented with .NET or with Node.js. Well, you can extend that bot to support also the bot-powered ACEs, having a return of investment, and you can reuse your own code without additional effort. Another option could be that you want to support external identity providers. By default, the SharePoint Framework ACEs just support the Azure Entra ID and the out-of-the-box security of Microsoft 365, while with the bot-powered ACE, you can easily support external identity providers. Let's make the assumption that you have an external API that you want to consume from your ACE and that you need to use an API key. While on the client side, it is not always good to have an API key in your code. On the contrary, if you have a server-side running bot, there you can store safely and securely an API key. And much more. For example, if you have business-critical logic or formulas that you want to protect, it is way better to use them in a back-end infrastructure inside your bot rather than having them in the client-side code of your adaptive card extension. And there are many more scenarios where a server-side solution can be better than a client-side one. To have a look at the architecture of the bot-powered ACEs, we should keep into account that from an end-user perspective, whenever an end-user will interact with your bot, it will go through a Microsoft 365 channel which will listen for all of the API requests for your bot. Then there will be the Azure Bot Service in the back end, and the Azure Bot Service will talk with the bot adapter, which will finally have an interaction with your server-side bot. So, through this chain of communication, all of the messages in and out from your bot will be able to process the user requests. Whenever you create a bot-powered ACE for Viva Connections, you have to implement a bot which will inherit from the new SharePoint Activity Handler base class. In that one, we can find 5 new overridable methods. The onSharePoint task get card view async, which can be used to render a card view in the UI of the adaptive card extension. The onSharePoint task get quick view async, which will take care of rendering a quick view instead of a card view. The onSharePoint task get property pane configuration async, and the onSharePoint task set property pane configuration async, which will respectively provide a property pane panel to configure your adaptive card and will store the settings updated by the user in the property pane. And last but not least, we have the onSharePoint task handle action async, which can be used to handle any action like a submit action from the end user perspective or any other action in the UI of your card views and quick views. There are a few things that it is important to know when you think about the bot-powered ACEs. One is that, generally speaking, the bots are a stateless technology. So when you implement them, you should create and design your bot in order to being stateless. Moreover, the bot-powered ACEs are a pool model-based technology. So you cannot have a bot-powered ACE which will automatically, based on a time trigger or something like that, send an update, send a new adaptive card view or quick view to the UI of the Viva Connections Dashboard. On the contrary, you will need an end user to click on a button to trigger an action, to refresh the content of the bot-powered ACE, and to get a new card view or a quick view in the UI. By default, there are no information about the user unless you implement a single sign-on bot, and as such, through the single sign-on configuration, you will be able to see who the user is, what the tenant is, and what the permissions are for the user. You can have multiple ACEs in one project for a bot-powered ACE, but at the same time, if you want to use the single sign-on configuration, there can be just one application ID per manifest in your solution. And whenever you render the quick views with the bot-powered ACEs, you can either rely on a code-based rendering using the adaptive card object model, or you can use a JSON-based model using the adaptive card templating package to render a quick view based on JSON. If that is the case, you can use the JSON schema of the adaptive card up to version 1.2. So, that said, have fun with the adaptive card extensions built as bot-powered using the bot framework SDK, and enjoy Microsoft Viva Connections.